They thought the park was empty. They thought the rusted gates and shattered lights were the scariest things they'd face. They were wrong. Dead wrong. Abandoned places have always held a dark allure. For thrill seekers and influencers alike, the promise of viral fame outweighs the risks of venturing into forgotten ruins. But what happens when something forgotten doesn't want to stay that way? Tonight, we're diving into the chilling tale of an abandoned amusement park in New Jersey, a place where dreams once came to life. And now, so do nightmares. Grab a flashlight and stay close, because this story gets darker with every step. Casey Tran was a rising star on social media, known for her fearless urban explorations. Her followers adored the adrenaline-fueled videos she posted, exploring decrepit hospitals, collapsing mansions, and forgotten factories. But her latest challenge was different. Dreamland Park, an amusement park that had been shut down for over 3 decades, stood like a rotting corpse on the outskirts of a small New Jersey town. Rumors swirled about why it closed. Some claimed financial ruin. Others whispered about mysterious disappearances. Casey's fans had flooded her comments with requests to investigate. They wanted answers, and Casey was determined to give them. With her cameraman and best friend Jordan, Casey planned the perfect exploration. "We'll go in at night," she said, flashing a grin in her Instagram story. "You'll get to see it all. Every creepy corner, every dark ride. And who knows, maybe we'll find out what really happened." The plan seemed simple enough. But Dreamland Park wasn't just another abandoned location. It had a reputation, one that warned visitors to stay far, far away. They arrived just after sunset, parking their car a half-mile away to avoid detection. The park's entrance loomed ahead, framed by bent iron gates tangled with ivy. The faded words, "Welcome to Dreamland," hung precariously overhead, the D barely clinging to its frame. Casey flipped on her flashlight, its beam cutting through the thick darkness. Jordan followed close behind, his camera already rolling. "This is insane," Jordan whispered. "People say they hear voices in here, you know. Like real voices." "Good thing we're not scared of a few ghost stories," Casey shot back, though her grin didn't quite reach her eyes. They stepped inside, and the air seemed to change immediately. It was heavy, like the park itself was breathing. The midway stretched out before them, littered with broken game booths and toppled signs. A carousel stood eerily still in the distance, its horses frozen mid-gallop, their painted eyes faded and cracked. As they walked deeper, Casey narrated for the camera. "This is the main strip of Dreamland. Back in the 70s, this place was packed with families. Can you imagine it? Laughing kids, lights everywhere." She paused. "Now, it's just dead." "Not completely," Jordan said, pointing. Casey turned, following his gaze to a Ferris wheel at the edge of the park. One of the gondolas creaked as it swayed gently, though there was no wind. She laughed nervously. "Probably just rust shifting, right?" They pressed on, stopping at an old funhouse. Its entrance was a garish clown face with chipped paint and a gaping mouth. The words, "Laugh your worries away," were barely legible above it. "This is perfect," Casey said. "Let's go inside." The funhouse was a maze of shattered mirrors and peeling wallpaper. Every step echoed, amplified by the cavernous interior. Casey's flashlight flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. "Case, I don't like this," Jordan muttered. "Relax," she replied. "It's just old wiring." But then the laughter started. It was faint at first, like a child's giggle, drifting through the stale air. Both of them froze. "Did you hear that?" Casey whispered. Jordan nodded, his face pale. "It's probably just, I don't know, echoes?" "Echoes of what?" Casey said, her voice trembling despite herself. The laughter grew louder, joined by the soft hum of carnival music. Casey spun around, her flashlight beam catching glimpses of movement in the mirrors. Something darted past behind them. "Okay, let's go," Jordan said, grabbing her arm. But as they turned to leave, the entrance slammed shut, trapping them inside. Panic set in. They banged on the door, but it wouldn't budge. The laughter was deafening now, surrounding them. "Who's there?" Casey shouted. Her voice echoed back, but there was no answer. The mirrors around them began to glow faintly, reflecting not their own images, but distorted, grotesque versions of themselves. Casey's reflection smirked at her, its eyes black and hollow. Jordan's mirror image seemed to age rapidly, his skin sagging and decaying. "This isn't real," Casey said, her voice shaking. "It can't be real." And then they heard it. The creak of animatronics coming to life. From the shadows emerged figures, their movements jerky and unnatural. It was the park's old mascots, a bear, a rabbit, and a clown, their once cheerful faces twisted into sinister grins. Their eyes glowed red as they advanced. "Run!" Jordan screamed, pulling Casey toward a side door. It opened, spilling them out into the night. But the park wasn't done with them yet. The carousel lit up, its haunting tune echoing through the park. The Ferris wheel began to spin, its creaking gondolas moving faster and faster. And the mascots were still following, their mechanical joints clicking with every step. Casey and Jordan ran for their lives, dodging through the twisted remains of dreamland. The park seemed alive, shifting and changing to trap them. Finally, they reached the gates, throwing themselves out onto the overgrown road beyond. When they looked back, the lights were gone, the park silent once more. They never spoke about what happened that night. Casey deleted the footage, and her urban exploration days were over. But sometimes, late at night, she swore she could still hear the faint sound of carnival music, calling her back. If you want more terrifying tales like this, subscribe now. Or maybe Dreamland will come looking for you next.